In this episode, we meet 2002 Texas Chef of the Year, Carol Irwin, who shares with us her story through owning multiple restaurants, going back to college at 40, as well as her latest adventure, the Buttermilk Cafe. You're listening to the Good Gossip Podcast.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 7 of the Good Gossip Podcast. I'm Todd Revis.
I'm Melissa Elizondo.
And we have an amazing guest today. This is somebody who, on our very first meeting together, when we made a list of people that we'd like to have on this show, this lady was one of them.
Yeah.
And it's taken us this long to get her to stoop to the level it required.
Yeah.
Was I in the top 10 or the top 200? I just don't know.
I will tell you.
We called everybody else.
Nancy was the one who got you on the top of the list.
My wife Nancy was like,
because I don't know your story. I will hear it for the first time today, but she was like, you have to hear her story. And so
she's funny.
Yeah. So she's been on us for months to get you on the show.
You know how much Nancy loves you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to introduce her to give you a kind of a sense of who this lady is. Our guest today is Carol Irwin. She's a certified executive chef. She's been in restaurants since the 1970s. Her first bakery was called Sugar Daddy's, and she has owned a barbecue mesquite grill, a 24-hour truck stop restaurant, and then as a solo owner, a Texas-themed tea room in Green, Texas, and currently owns the Buttermilk Cafe, which serves real food in the Southern style and focuses on mainly breakfast and lunch. Mm-hmm. And she was a Girl Scout. And she was
a great one.
She was a good Girl Scout. And she was a lunch lady. I can't picture that. But in 2002, she won Chef of the Year for Texas, all of Texas. And she was the first female winner of that award in 35 years at that time. In 2021, so more recently, she was awarded the Pastry Chef of the Year for the American Culinary Federation San Antonio chapter. That's a big deal. Carol is the only certified executive chef in New Braunfels, Texas that I'm aware of. If I'm wrong, please correct me. She sponsors hopeful chefs because my understanding is in order to become a certified executive chef, you have to apprentice or mentor under a certified executive chef for 2 years. And so she has mentored many, many chefs along the way, and they all love her and are grateful for her. She has a fierce love for her family, and she'll be the first to tell you that. In 1997, the reason she's affected my life is because she moved to New Braunfels with her family, and she opened the tea room in Green, and I worked there 15 years ago.
Oh, you showed up.
Well, I punched in. Thanks, Carol. I'm already enjoying this. But for those of you who know this area, there were not a lot of good restaurant options back then. There was a lot of chicken fried steak and hamburgers, which we love, but there wasn't a lot of cuisine available. And so when she opened that about the same time as Wasatch Grill opened their restaurant, they were two woman-owned restaurants that changed the culinary scene in New Braunfels for the better. And now we have many restaurants to show for that. This morning, I think she left 30 pounds of carrots uncut at the
50.
restaurant.
It was 50 pounds of carrots.
So she's still immersed in the daily life of the Buttermilk Cafe and her restaurant and her family. And so we appreciate you taking your extremely valuable time and coming here to hang out with us for a little while. So everyone, welcome Chef Carol Irwin.
Do I hear the applause?
Chef Carol.
I do want to make one correction.
Okay.
I was the second female chef for the state of Texas for their chefs. And I am still proud of being number 2. There has been a third one since then. So
wow, in the whole state of Texas?
That's correct. And but I'm just proud to be that Chef of the Year, not because I'm a woman, because just to get that
sure
is wonderful.
That's amazing when you think about Houston and Dallas and Austin and San Antonio.
Yeah, it's a big state.
Mm-hmm. And all the big restaurants. So let's go into why let's go to your childhood. Tell me a little bit about what drove you to go to chef school and why you love cooking so much. And I've heard some stories. I'd like to hear kind of your version of that.
Well, it never starts out like you think. I think you always go through the same things like other children do. Oh, I think I'll be a Mack truck driver because I like sitting in the steering wheel when you're little. I thought I'd be a veterinarian, and then you find out that women weren't allowed to be veterinarians.
What?
That was that phase, and I just happened into cooking. I didn't cook at home growing up. And it wasn't until my first husband and I were stationed in Germany that I taught myself to cook and to appreciate the process of how to make something taste good. Maybe not look good, but at least ways to get the flavor there. And then I did some, my first husband had restaurants. I did some catering on the side and learned that I have a foo-foo kind of attitude about things, just to dress it up. That food is just, that people eat different. Men
wait,
like brown and white food.
What?
Steak and potatoes.
They don't eat
That's
green.
why I like chicken fried steak so much.
That's right. Women like to eat not big plates, but a
Colorful.
little bit of everything on a plate. They'll have 5 or 6 things on a plate in little piles. So you just learn by looking and seeing how people do. But that's how it started out. It was all really by a great accident. Or was it?
Or was it?
Or was it? My dreams I would see myself in a dream. I would have white on. Well, it couldn't be an angel because I was never going to be that. And so I thought, well, I'd be a doctor of some sort because I do kind of, I'm social. I like people. I want to help. And here I am, and of course I've got black on today,
Yeah.
but I do have a white chef's coat. So dreams do come true, but how you interpret them.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, you talk about having a foo-foo attitude. That is something I remember about my time at the tea room, was that you taught your chefs and you took great care to present the plate a certain way. So
Yeah,
if
you can't just put a sandwich on the plate. You're going to have to give it some height. Not everything is flat. So you're going to have to build it.
So dimensions and tapestry.
And color, yeah.
Color is one of those things. See, a lot of people may not know that.
And
but-
that's just with the eye. You also have to have that with the palate. Are you going to have something sweet? You better have something salty on the plate. It's how you create texture, even.
Yeah.
You got mushy potatoes, and so you may put a crunch somewhere on the plate.
I can tell you right now I made a mistake this morning.
Uh-oh.
I
Did you
forgot
not
to eat
have
breakfast.
Oh, now you're getting hungry.
And my stomach is like, yes, food.
Yes.
I like all those things you're talking about. Sandwiches. And I love it. Now I want chicken fried steak for lunch.
No.
Okay,
we
so
serve
you
it for
were
breakfast even.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you were cooking all this time, but you weren't an executive chef yet.
No. In fact,
So how does that work?
We've been in the restaurant business for a lot of years, but at some certain point, like I said, by the great design, I met somebody who belonged to the Dallas Chapter Chefs Association, and they introduced me that I could even go to a culinary school there at El Centro College, and that was the beginning. And I had met them actually by the way of Neiman Marcus. I did some work with Neiman Marcus in their restaurant, and had met the lady who was the first woman chef of the year, and because she had Dessert Dreams, which would cater to all the hotels and fine dining, her pastries. She was a pastry chef. And her husband told me about the El Centro College.
Yeah.
So that was the adventure.
And how old were you?
Yeah.
Oh, 45 is when I started, when I enrolled. I had always wanted to go to college, but, life has its way. And but at 45, I'm getting my college.
That's amazing. So I've heard you talk about how it's different to be a college student in your 40s than it is when you're 20.
Oh, yeah. When I was in high school, I think I had my first F in chemistry. I was always just a lower B student, even though I felt I was an A student. But I never could get that. I had too much going on. There's band and social and dating, and there's fun to happen. There, you have your childhood. But in college, well, you've already done all that. You have children of your own, and now it's time. And I was a straight A.
So you got serious about it.
Yeah, I was a straight A student. Yes. I was proud of that.
That is awesome.
So how long did that
Smart.
take? How long was that?
Well, it's a 2-year course. Took me 3.
That's all right. Straight A's, 3 years. That's
well,
all
you
right.
also had, how old were the girls?
They were in high school.
So you had high school girls.
That's exactly right.
And they're busy doing their high school
Yeah.
stuff in the Dallas area. And so here you are going back to school.
That's exactly
But what
right.
an inspiration to kind of show them that you can change, you can do whatever you want. However,
can.
It doesn't matter how old you are.
Well, it does have its sacrifices. I mean, it is hard on the family. All of a sudden, mom's not there, or she's in the living room in her quiet time studying. And so it does wear on a family. So.
Did you have to practice cooking at home?
Oh yeah.
Did they like that?
Well, they're still alive, so that's the success part.
Yeah.
So, but that's how you have to practice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just how it has to be.
That must have been fun to have
Well,
a
it
mom
was. Well,
cooking
it
cool
was.
stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But I remember at Tea Room always, you grew up eating Southern food.
Mm-hmm.
You used to say when you talked, you already had a vision for Buttermilk at the time.
I did.
Of opening, and it might have at that time you might have thought of it as an additional restaurant, but just the way things worked out, you sold the Tea Room and opened Buttermilk, and I remember you saying, "I want to go back to how my great grandmother cooked. My grandmother cooked. I want heavy cream," and we used heavy cream there. You've never been afraid of heavy cream, real butter,
Whole Foods.
whole foods, real food like you call
Not
it.
diet food, not sugar free.
People don't come here if
I
they're
know
on a diet.
people have to have that who have some dietary concerns, but I want real food. That you don't really find that anymore. It's always enriched with starches and non-food items to make it last longer on the shelf. I want my bread to mold. If it's going to last 3 or 4 days, I want it to mold. It's a natural process. Throw it out. You use it or throw it out. So we do. We still use heavy cream, real butter.
My wife's. It's funny how some people perceive things, but you have some big fans who have eaten at your Buttermilk Cafe 3 times that live in Southern California. And every time they visit here, it's a must stop for them.
That's great.
Because they said it's the best coffee they've ever had in their lives.
Well, you know why?
It's really good.
the heavy
coffee.
cream.
Heavy cream.
They don't realize
Not
that's
2% milk.
it's heavy cream. And I remember as a server at one of your restaurants, seeing people kind of freaked out by it because they're not used to it.
But just sometimes it would look curdled.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
come back,
That's just the
they're
butter
complaining,
fat in it.
No, it's the butter fat. And
Yeah.
so once
I
they
drink
tried
my
it,
coffee with heavy cream.
it's the richest coffee you can drink. It's so good.
Describe to me, for people just listening and have never been here, describe to me Buttermilk. Describe to me the menu, the atmosphere. What is it? What was this vision that you built?
Long ago, when we first moved here to New Braunfels, there was a cafe, hotel, Hill Country Inn. Do you remember that, Todd? It was there
Yes.
where the CVS
It's where
store is
CVS, where
now.
Jason's Deli is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And all the townspeople would go there if they either went there or they went to, was it Krause's Cafe still called
The
that
old-
thing? Yeah.
Either that
Yeah,
or the
they
other
would go
one,
there or to Hill Country, and it was packed all the time. And all the good old boys around town would be sitting there drinking coffee, taking up table space. When, but I thought I want to have that draw where people are known. You're known for. That's where you go for breakfast. That's where you go for lunch. This is New Braunfels Cafe. It's not the tourist. It's where the
locals
townsfolk
go,
go.
yeah.
So it started off kind of like that. It's kind of how you are with Green. You go to the grist mill if you're in Green. So, but I wanted to be New Braunfels Cafe. And I think we built that.
I think you have.
So, but it was my daughters and I that we were, and we've been working on this for a while, just coming up with ideas of what we thought would work. You have to put the eye on the customer. It's not about what you want to do. What do they want to eat? Because they may not like everything you do.
Sure.
So that's how it slowly developed. So
So the space you're in right now, do I remember that there was another restaurant in there?
yes, it was the
Green Onion.
Green Onion. Yeah, that's exactly.
And
I was
so
thinking of
they-
the Green Door. That was
Yeah,
another
that was
restaurant.
another one that you
mhm.
helped open.
Yeah, it was the Green Onion. So
Yeah, and it was a cool restaurant. And I remember that was early 2000s.
Yep.
And it came along at a time that we didn't really have any restaurants like that. That was an Austin style restaurant. And
Correct.
They had a different
it started
kind of,
off
it was a
as
bistro.
burgers.
Yeah.
And then they developed into just a night business.
Yeah, nice salads and things like that. It was an uppity
Upscale. It
upscale
was.
restaurant for us. Yeah, and now, gosh, this whole landscape has changed in that regard.
And still changing.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah. So you took over that space, and what year was that?
2011. 2011.
One of the things you've done there was expand and into the next space, which, if I remember correctly, was kind of a nightmare in some ways because of business codes and city codes and fire codes and things like that. You think it's simple we're just going to knock down
we
this
just
wall,
knock that wall and
move and add tables. So that's a scary thing as a restaurant owner anyway. When you're on a 2-hour wait every day and you say, wow, if we could open up this room to another 50, 20 tables, we'd be on an hour wait. But that doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes people go, I miss the small place and I'd rather wait 2 hours. Well, thankfully for her, it didn't change the thing. It's
That's
still
true.
a 2-hour wait.
Still a 2-hour wait.
But she ran it. She talk about things, when you talk about things about the restaurant business that have nothing to do with food and are the thing that is hard and keep you up at night and make you work more hours than anybody else. Some of those things like how to make sure that the fire department's happy and the fire marshal's happy with how you have everything set up can be a nightmare.
Oh, most certainly. It's always the things you don't plan. It's always even constant equipment repair. Thank goodness I've got some good guys that'll show up, drop of a dime to help me put in the vent motor for the vent-a-hood. But it's, that's just life though, Todd. It's just life. Something's always going to happen. There's a crisis right around the corner waiting to happen. And so you just have to find your peace. Otherwise, it could eat you alive. This particular year, I've had two good friends pass away, chefs that have worked in the kitchen. So that's just an added burden. I had called, just to get you off subject just for a little bit, my friend, Chef Richard Briscoe, who was a director for the San Antonio chapter for a long while. He and his family, we've become friends, and he also worked at the Green Door with me, along with Chef Mike Bias and Chef
Yes.
Dwight Webb. But Chef Bias I've lost this year, and Chef Webb also. And he said, well, I don't think I'm going to come work for you. You're killing all these chefs off.
I knew you were going somewhere like that. Now, I know Mike Bias, Chef Mike Bias. He used to work at the Petroleum Club.
Yes.
And my little brother Eric worked
He
for
used
him
to
at the
say,
Petroleum Club.
I didn't realize that. He
I worked
said that was the best job he's ever had. Not that he didn't like working for me, but he
Yeah.
says, I should have never left that.
He had
It
an
was a great
office.
place.
He had a big office, the biggest kitchen I've ever seen. The kitchen was the size of your current restaurant, and he had a big office. And I remember there were certain clients that he would go drive down to an Asian seafood market and buy them things and come back.
Yep.
He got to have a lot of fun there for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was a good man. He had some, like you said, life.
like most chefs do.
Yep. Had some stuff happen in his life, and he overcame it and fought through it. So sad to hear that. I'll have to let my brother know.
But we moved on.
Yeah.
We have moved on. So,
So you're heading into a holiday season. Does that
yes,
change
thank you
things?
so much for doing this today, because not only am I under stress, I had to stop what I was doing with my carrots and come down here and visit with you too.
I love it.
Our pleasure. Yeah. Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving I think of Chef because She used to make this pumpkin roll.
Now, we don't do that
I know.
now.
I heard. I heard you still do pumpkin soup.
We do.
And do you still take the pumpkin seeds and toast them and candy them?
That's it.
And then you sprinkle them on
the soup.
On the soup.
Sure do.
Oh, wow.
Well, they used to, pumpkin rolls have that cream cheese
Oh,
in the middle. And then she had a little sauce that would go over it. And then you sprinkle the pumpkin seeds in that cream sauce.
Well, let me tell you about my new dessert, since we're going to talk
Yeah,
food.
let's do it.
At the cafe, some of the things you have are created from mistakes.
Oh?
Yes, I've created some great soups from a mistake. I've created, in this particular dessert was from, I needed to push a product because I didn't want it to expire and throw it out in the trash. That's money. You're throwing your money into the trash. So we created this pumpkin trifle, and it's a layer of ginger snap cookies, vanilla pastry cream, more ginger snaps, fresh caramel sauce, pumpkin pie that we baked, and because the pumpkin pie we thought was going to expire, we just turned it into a trifle with whipped cream, and it is a good selling, good tasting dessert. And now we have to make it fresh.
Now it's on purpose.
Yeah,
it's on
so
purpose.
that's how
Yeah.
you get
Well,
things created.
That's amazing. So that becomes like another tradition for
Yes.
you and your creation. So people next Thanksgiving are going to come
They
in
will
looking
see
for that trifle.
Yeah, they will see it there on the cafe menu, and they say, "Oh, this is only a seasonal item."
That's
so,
right.
What's your best seller? What do people love?
What as far as the overall menu?
Yeah.
Gosh, everything is just overwhelmingly does well, but most people buy the meatloaf.
Yeah.
I guess they don't make it at home anymore.
So many
course-
people don't like meatloaf. I made
I
meatloaf
love
the other night,
meatloaf.
and I
I
asked
like
the kids,
meatloaf.
like, who likes meatloaf? Only one of them did.
Well, there's
Meatloaf got
different
a
ways
bad
to
rap.
make a meatloaf. Some people like it with brown gravy on theirs. We use a tomato and peach nectar for ours to sweeten it up. Give a little bit of less acidy taste to the tomato. Besides, I like sugar. So we sell a lot of meatloaf, liver. Since we don't have lubies here anymore, now I've become the
Liver and
liver
onions.
queen.
Yeah.
Oh my
I took
goodness.
my
Who would've
grandma to
thought?
eat there, and she got the liver and onions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've
Well,
never
old
been.
people eat it.
Old
Yeah.
people
Old people,
like it.
I like
That's
it.
old people food.
You know what's
That's
funny
right.
though, and you were talking about the locals earlier. I love the atmosphere there, and the last time I took her to eat, somebody covered our check. Like somebody just
Isn't that neat?
I bet that happens a lot.
It does happen, and I am real thankful that I have that kind of customer.
Yeah.
That they take care of other people.
Yeah,
So I think that's wonderful.
I love that.
Do you make friends with your customers?
I do, and sometimes I remember their names.
You see a lot of people.
I do see a lot of people. I remember faces, but I may not quite remember their name. Eventually, I'll get it, but it's
I'm the
hard
same
to
way.
remember everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
They know you, and at
Well,
least
there's one
I
of you
remember.
and many of them. It's like
Yes.
the school teacher. Everybody can remember her name, but she has 100 students to
Oh,
try
yeah.
to remember.
Oh yeah, and then you add 30 years onto their tenure, and that's
Right.
just you just can't do it.
Will you tell me the story of how you got your award for Texas? Like, how did that come about?
What the chef for the
Yeah,
year?
what were you doing? How did you find out? That sort of thing.
That was in 02.
Yes, I had actually become the director, the San Antonio director of that chef's
Culinary.
chapter, and you had, in order to become a chef of the year for any state, you had to be a certified executive chef, or you needed to be certified in something, and there were several of us that were up for the award. Because there's like 13 chapters in the state of Texas, and they each present their chef to be chosen for the state. And I just thought, who would choose me? I'm a newbie. There's so many accomplished chefs, and I think somebody padded the ballot box, but
Who did that?
but I was certainly just amazed that they had thought enough of me that I had earned it. So it's just that simple. It just becomes down to a vote on accomplishments. Maybe not so much who's the best cook, although at the American Culinary Federation now you do cook as becoming
part
the
of
best.
that.
Yes, so
Wow.
it has become a requirement. So you have 4 regions here in the United States: Western, Central, that, and they 4 compete against each other, and you
That's
have
cool.
a set of judges, and whoever has accomplished those goals with, and you're talking about a stiff competition because they all are great cooks. They're great.
Wow.
So
So do you cook every day, or how many chefs do you have now that work with you?
I'm actually, since I've lost my 2, I have really taken over my kitchen as far as the direction it's heading. I do have, I have probably about 50 on staff, 50 employees, ranging anywhere from 16 years old on up to, well, I'm 73. I guess I'm not the oldest. No, I'm not the
you're
oldest
not the
one. There's
oldest,
one
right?
that's 78 out there working for me. So if they're moving and breathing, they're mine.
Yeah, because there is a shortage in workers. Have
Yeah.
you felt that?
Yes. Oh, yes. My 78-year-old is a host and has been with me for five years, and he's just looking for stuff to do. He's on Social Security, and so he's active.
Yeah.
And it fills his day. My 16-year-old, they usually just work on the weekends because of school and stuff, but they have stepped up and are going to work through the Thanksgiving holidays. And
Any of your family work there?
I actually have two daughters, and of course my husband comes in. He likes to count the money. He thinks he's royalty, count de monnaie. And so at the end of the day, he'll come in and do that. He wants to do more, but he's my distraction. I don't want him to come in because he distracts me. He's my man.
He's your guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to visit, and I need to work. But he has other things that he does, so it all really works out well. And my 2 daughters, one of them really works most of the time down there. My older daughter is really a school teacher here at Canyon High School, and but she'll be here during the holidays too.
So you
to
have
help
both
out.
daughters back in the kitchen? helping you,
Not
or-
so much in the kitchen or as they are out front. That kind of brings where I am. I've always wanted to be in the kitchen, but since I had a staff before, I didn't really need to be back in the kitchen, so I was more out front. So I'm a little bit floundering this year trying to figure out, because I'm pulled in
You
a
miss-
thousand directions.
Yeah, you miss being out there talking to people.
Yeah, I do. And just giving direction on how to, micromanage. I'm great at micromanaging.
Well,
I don't want to be that.
It's
but
funny because we started out talking about color and textures and
Mm-hmm.
tapestry and flavors, and that is something you do really well. And I remember, just like you were saying, if you were serving quiche, there would be an orange slice and some grapes and a strawberry that was
They're
cut
on the
up-
plate. Yes,
They're
that's
on the
exactly
plate,
right.
and it gives it that
Extra
finishing
pop.
touch, that extra pop. And I've been to a restaurant recently here that is amazing, great food, and the plate came out with none of that. And I wouldn't even know to look for that if it weren't for you.
You might as well have eaten at home.
You ruined me. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought, is it,
Not at my
we were
home, you
talking
don't wanna
off
just-
camera about how, it only takes a couple seconds to do that, but it drives your staff crazy probably because you remind
It's
them
that
to
one more extra step. It is. It's an extra step. Parsley. Yeah, you gotta clean it, chop it up, make sure it's there in order to have it.
Yeah.
Or if it's a lemon twist that goes on top of the fish, yeah, you got to wash it, slice it, make sure it's ready to go, and twist it. Mimosas. You could just put a glass of mimosa on the table, but no, we got to do fruit on a pick that goes with it. So it's just that extra added touch. Does it add to the cost? Yes. But I don't hear anybody complaining about it.
Well, as you do anything, do all things, or whatever that saying is.
Give 100% every time. And it's fun.
I think it's interesting. You feel like you're being pulled in a lot of directions, and sometimes you wish you could be in the front talking to people. I don't think people are worried at all about you being back there because they know if you're back there.
I have had people say, "Is Chef in the kitchen today?" Because I don't really want to be here if she's
Oh,
Oh, wow.
so there you go.
But they don't realize, there's several areas of my kitchen. I can't put my hand on every plate.
No.
I can't put my hand on every ingredient or everything. So it takes a crew that will follow a recipe and make it happen. So it's just if you ordered a slice of tomato, we could just put that slice of tomato on the plate next to your fried egg. But no, I got somebody there with a shaker that puts salt and pepper on it and a little parsley. So it's just a little added touch for color and dimension and texture. So at least ways they follow through with it because they like the way it looks too.
They're proud of it.
Oh yeah, you got
Well,
to
there
make
are
them
chefs
proud.
all over this country that have met you and then gone on to do things and have mentored under you and have worked for you and gone on to have a career. Do you still keep in touch with any of those folks that study?
Sometimes there have been those who I can't recall if they actually finished school, but there's been some who have been who were interested in baking or pastry, and now they have their own cookie business.
Oh, wow.
So they do things like that. As far as others, we had one who did a stint in cooking in my kitchen, and now she is a personal chef, travels all over the country
Cool.
on their yachts or airplanes. I mean, we're that kind of. No, she doesn't have a family,
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be hard.
but that sounds like a glamorous life, and all she does is cook. So,
Yeah.
so I can't think off the top of my head of anybody who's actually gone to school, become a owner of their own restaurant, or if they're not working at a hotel or something like that. But they've stepped into the shallow end coming into my restaurant,
Yeah.
and it's up to them whether they learn to swim into the deep end.
So let's talk about I think you have a big heart and you love your family fiercely and you love people
I do.
fiercely. I
You
know
gotta
that.
like them.
Yeah. And so that just, I think a natural cause of that is giving back to the community. Have you ever worked with kids or I think I heard rumor that you helped some high school girls with some cooking stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was asked to help this group, and I wish I could remember the group. It was a what is it? A FHA
Like
kind of
FHA,
thing.
yeah.
And evidently, there's a big cooking competition for these high schoolers, and I don't know how they found the students that had wanted to do this, but they attend these competitions, and they're given these mystery baskets.
Oh, kind
here
of like
you got-
Chopped.
Yeah. I love
only
that
on
show.
a less complicated.
Yeah.
Sure.
They may be having a potato and a carrot, or they'll be given a mystery meat like fish or chicken. So we would bring them into the cafe after hours, and I would give them
Like practice run, like
a
coaching
practice run.
them.
Yes, I would give them each a carrot or potato, and when I would show them different ways that they could do this. And now I wouldn't do it for them. I gave them a peeler, and they had their own knives, and I showed them how to make how to dress up the plate. It was still going to be up to them and their instructor how to cook a potato. But if they needed to cook it or prepare it in a different shape, for instance, you could take a carrot or a squash and make a flower out of it. And that could be a plate, that extra foo-foo work that goes on a plate to make it look different. Or you could prepare a fish or a chicken. That would be up to them to learn. But how do you make a sauce? That would always be the extra added flavor for that plate, or a twist of lemon for them that might get them over to the top.
Yeah.
They won.
They won?
Wow,
Yes.
that's awesome.
That's great. You should have that should be your biggest trophy
Yes,
ever.
well, they won their I think their
Like the
area,
region or area.
and I think they came in second for whatever it was that the,
Like the whole
that the
state
big
or
one.
something.
Hey, they were proud of
That's
that.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. And so that's not too. It's kind of recent. Like in the last
That was
few years.
about I think that's been about 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm gonna have to dig that up and find it.
So
That's cool.
I can't even remember their names. I remember some of the faces, but at first when I started that, I thought, oh, Carol, like you need one more thing to do. But that really ended up being quite fun, and they really enjoyed seeing how. And I don't know what any of them are doing. I don't know if they still cook today, or if it's TV dinners at home. I have no idea, but
Let's
it was
hope
a
not.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
We have a really healthy food bank here in New Braunfels that
Yes.
is part of the San Antonio, South Texas
Yes.
chapter food banks. Have you been involved? It makes sense that you would partner with them. Have you done anything with them?
I am very aware of the food bank here in New Braunfels, and the irony of all that, the young man who used to be in the Dallas food bank, he and I knew each other, Eric, and now he's over the state of Texas.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And he's become very involved in with all the the food banks, and we're trying to stay involved with the New Braunfels thing. So
Very good. Well, this is a big time of year, and by the time this episode airs, we'll be getting close to Christmas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they are trying their best to help as many families as possible here in New Braunfels and South Texas and all over Texas. So some of us have been so blessed during these last couple of years when it could have gone the other way, and I think it's our duty as humans to find a way to give back.
I
Find a
agree.
way to help people out that are less fortunate. That I know there's lots of organizations that give turkeys and give Christmas dinner and gifts for kids. We just had an episode release recently about some adoption and foster communities that are welcoming gifts for the kids, so everybody can have a great Christmas like every kid should.
yep.
So that's really neat. Do you have any other questions for Chef Carol?
Yeah. How did COVID treat you? Like 2020 shut down? Did you panic? Like, did you do okay? Like, kind of.
I really have a great inner peace. I just know whatever's taking place is bigger than me. So you just have to take your piece of pie and just work it. If you just put it down into your little world and not think of it too worldly, you can probably, it's usually more manageable. Mm-hmm. And when they shut us down, actually March 22nd was the shutdown. It was the last day that I was open. And on that particular day, I was trying to start a chef's chapter for New Braunfels. Oh. And we had a meeting of about 20 young cooks and chefs and business leaders at the cafe. It was the last meeting we had, and I haven't been able to get it started back up. But on that 23rd until we opened up again the day after Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. There's no way I was going to open up Mother's Day after being shut down for 2 months, and we're going to do a good job. No, that we weren't going to do a good job. We're going to have to get back in with it. But I gambled and hired a contractor, and we did the bathrooms at the cafe. Spent some money doing that, and I thought, well, I either going to be opening back up, making money, or somebody's going to inherit some nice looking restaurant with bathrooms.
Nice bathrooms.
That's exactly right.
So you did the bathrooms during the shutdown.
That's exactly right.
Well,
Good
you're
opportunity.
blessed.
Good
You're blessed to
opportunity.
be able to do that.
Yes.
And it paid off because now here you are, been open since over a year and a half
Yes.
now. And you every time I drive by there before
we're
2
still-
p.m.,
yes.
there's people on the sidewalk
That's
out
exactly
there hanging
right.
out, waiting to get in.
I
We
want to
had-
go so many times, and I go by, and I'm like, no, I'm hungry now.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
No, it's been a blessing that we've had a return of customers. We're still short-staffed. I could probably still we have hired. For instance, we hired 2 people last week. They never showed up one day. I don't get that. I don't know
crazy?
where. how are they surviving? I don't even understand that. I don't even know if they're even working another job.
And
but
didn't your mama and daddy raise you better than that?
I don't
Maybe they still
know.
live with their mom and daddy.
They could be.
Man, if my kids didn't show up,
Maybe
okay,
it
don't
could
get
be.
me started.
But, I don't know their history, so I really can't judge. But
Yeah.
I would think just a phone call to say, I've changed my mind would have been a nice gesture. But not everybody thinks like I do. So just move on, Carol. Move on.
Move on, Carol.
And so I have hired another young man that will start work after the holidays, and so I'm hoping that he'll work out just and fit in great.
Yeah.
He's excited. He feels like he wants to work for a chef, so he wants to. So I hope I don't disappoint him. But reality takes place. I'm still a human. I make my mistakes, and I can't have my hands on everybody all the time teaching. So, but I have a real great staff.
Well, I know you're super busy, and you have Marcy and I, your daughter Marcy and I spoke yesterday, and she said she was trying to get you to start writing your recipes down and put a book together. And she says, my mom says, you're just trying to make me busy.
Yeah, trying to make me busier.
'Cause you're busy
Well,
as you
I
can
have
be.
all the recipes written down, but they're for, it feeds like 50, so that, so I would have to sit. I don't have time. I want to lay down when I get home. I want to have somebody rub my feet. So
I get it. But that's going to be something that you can, maybe, who knows, maybe one day you'll have time to do that and leave a legacy for your great-grandchildren. And your
maybe, there's a lot of cookbooks out there. Do people cook at home anymore?
We do.
Yes.
That's good.
I think it's
Do
becoming
you
a
use
thing.
a cookbook?
I do. I don't have cookbook. I just find recipes. That's how I find them now.
I'm not promoting that. Because a lot of times I'll Google it and I'll find a recipe.
I do the same
Hey, I need to do a
thing, but I
meatloaf.
have
Let me go look at 3 or 4 meatloaf recipes and I'll combine them together and do something.
And make it your own.
Right. And Nancy's started cooking lately more than she ever has with me, and that's been fun. I'll come home and the house smells like food, and she's got it in the crock pot or she's doing something, and usually she'll see it on Facebook or one of the social medias. Somebody posts this picture of something they made for dinner, and she's like, oh my gosh, send me that recipe. I want to make that. And so she's actually exploring. She told me the other day, she said, I'm so mad at you. You finally got me to go to H-E-B and Grand Zines to buy stuff during the day for a recipe. And, it's just like she's in this new world.
Yeah.
She loves
I love
it.
it.
That's
she loves
great.
it.
Yeah.
Her creative juices are
Yes.
coming alive.
And
Yeah,
I love
another
it
part
because
of
I
her.
love to eat.
We know. Me too.
I remember when I quit working for you, when I left you, and I've told you this story before. I was about to get married to Nancy, and I'd started doing real estate, and I'd had a few good months, and December was going to culminate into, I think it was December of 2008, and I knew I was going to have a really good December, and because I'd been in the service industry for 20 years, I'd never really had the holidays off. Like people with real jobs got to take the week before Christmas or the whole week of Christmas. They could lay around watching football and doing whatever. And I said, I'm going to live that life. I'm going to do that. And so on October 20th of 2008, it was about 7 o'clock in the evening. We were closing out. I said, Chef, I'm quitting. This is my official notice. I'm quitting December 20th this year. And she said, whatever. She didn't even believe me. And I said, I mean it. And so, in fact, December 20th of that year was my last day. But about 2 weeks later, I had a light bill due, and I came and picked up one shift to make some money. I was a little premature. But she let me come back and wait some tables and make money for my light bill.
Well, you still can do that.
I could? That would be so cool. We should do that. Like have an alumni team come back, and Christoph and me. And
Oh, yeah.
a few
Celebrity
others. Hooker.
waiter.
There's a few others that we could come and we could fake it, man. We could fake it.
It'd be a lot of fun.
It taught me how to like people. I guess I liked people. I was one of those guys. Not everybody's cut out for waiting tables, but I was never the guy that walked up and said, hi, my name's Todd. And I was walking up going, dude, I love that jacket. Where'd you get that jacket? 5 minutes go by, and I know their life story, and they know mine. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm supposed to get you something to drink. I'm here for a reason, not to be your friend. So that's what got me in trouble, was I just wanted to be friends with everybody. And so I left there and went into real estate, where I learned how to talk to people, learned how to meet people, and
There is a gift to learn how to listen and learn how to talk, to ask the questions they haven't even known to ask. So that
and
is
to
a
know
that
when
is
to
a
leave
lesson.
them alone and know when they want to
Yeah.
visit. And it depends. If it's lunchtime and two business people are sitting there talking, they don't want you to come and talk to them. They want
Leave
you to
me
leave me
alone.
alone and just bring me my stuff. And then some people are like,
He
tell me
never
about
paid any attention to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a balance. So you got to know how to do it. That world is a great world, and I'm glad I got that. With my first career was in the service industry, and culminated with Chef Carol.
I appreciate that.
You
Thank
made
you
me
so
retire.
much.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a little good gossip before we ask you about your good gossip. But you having been a waiter for so long, when we were at Bras for a Cause a few weeks ago, our caterer disappointed us pretty bad, and they didn't bring enough staff to serve 650 people.
Gracious.
And so Todd went back there with a few people, and I'm dealing with AV stuff, and I see him coming out with his big tray,
Carrying
and
trays.
he served.
Serving.
Yes, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You
you
know,
for doing
and actually,
that.
the thing I'm most proud. A lot of people jumped in. We
A lot
had
of
a
people
lot
jumped
of.
in to
We were
help.
all supposed to be bouncers. A lot of us were bouncers, just wearing T-shirts and walking around, making sure you women didn't get too crazy. But it ended up being we all hands on deck. Let's get this food out because we got 600 people to serve. And my experience helped me because I was able to carry a tray with 4 plates on it, and I was able to put them down. And then I think I'm most proud of I pre-bussed that whole New Braunfels Civic Center
Yeah.
because I know how
The
important
whole
that
thing.
is
Yes.
to take the plate away.
I'm over here
when
stuck
they're
with
done.
AV, and I see him cleaning tables, and I was just, thank you.
It was just I don't know.
He came and brought me water.
It's instinctive.
Twice. He brought me water twice to do
It was
it.
instinctive.
Uh-huh.
And
You
and
just
then
knew.
once I did it, I wanted to do it well, and I wanted them to be. Oh, I'm so glad he took my plate because now I can go like this and watch the show, not got mashed potatoes on my elbow.
Yeah.
You know, I was between you and Bill Bean. I learned how to make sure that the place you have coffee and dessert is a very comforting, peaceful place.
It's a dance.
It is.
It truly is a dance.
It makes me critical of other restaurants when I go to them because I'm like, Nancy goes, Todd, just relax. And I say, yeah, but we're about to have chocolate cake and there's still my calamari.
I
sitting
will
there.
agree, Nancy. He is not fun to go out and eat with. I will agree.
I'm a little critical.
He's a little critical.
Had
And
to put gray tape on his mouth.
I know.
He would be talking with his hands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I try not to. I try to just relax. But anyway, that's something I spend a lot of time doing. So let's wrap this up. I warned you earlier that we'd like to give you a chance to good gossip about somebody in your life or some people in your life. And so please, what do you think?
I don't know that I have gossip material.
Oh no, not it's
Yeah,
like
just a brag.
like
It's a
bragging on
brag.
somebody who you want to brag on.
I would have to be my entire crew if I'm going to be honest with it, because if I look back on this past year, more of the pandemic, I have a lot of staff that has stayed put. Not everybody can say that,
Yeah.
and it's not because they're paid extra well. But I think it might be a sense of family for them. I do have people that work for me that they have lost family this year. I have people. We talked about. I call my crew the pirate ship, and I'm the captain of the pirate ship because I don't always hire. I don't even know how to even say this.
People who look good on paper.
I hire people who had a rough background, maybe due to their training, definitely due to their choices. Some who have served time in prison, they're probation, still seeing attorneys. They got too many kids out of wedlock. Those are my people, and they're with me. They could work anywhere else, doing whatever. Maybe criminal work, I don't know, but they're with me, and without them, they have sustained the cafe, and I'm most proud of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you for
that's awesome.
saying that out loud. And I think what you just did was bragged on all those folks, and by doing so, you bragged on yourself because they love you, And you're the
It's
mama.
a family.
You're the mama of that
No,
family.
I'm the captain of the
The
ship.
captain of the pirate ship. All right.
Dreaded.
Thank you both.
Dread Pirate Carol.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you both.
welcome. And so thank you so much for spending your valuable time. Now go peel those carrots, okay?
Yeah, somebody's gonna
Hopefully
Come on
somebody
over.
else. Hopefully
I'll
some
feed
other.
you lunch if you'll come help.
Oh man. Well, gosh, we love you, and
Yeah.
my family loves you, and now y'all are friends, and we thank you for being on our show.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
welcome.
Bye.